Nansen found two groups of monks squabbling over the ownership of a cat. Nansen went to the kitchen and brought back a chopper. He picked up the cat and said to the monks, "If any of you can say a good word, you can save the cat." Not a word was said, so Nansen cut the cat in two and gave half to each group. When Joshu returned that evening, Nansen told him what had happened. Joshu said nothing. He just put his sandals on his head and walked out. Nansen said, "If you had been there, you could have saved the cat."
Life cannot be saved by mind, by thinking, by logic. And if you try to save it by logic, you will lose it. Life can be saved only through an irrational jump, through something that is not intellectual but total. But the whole story seems to be too cruel. Nansen's disciples were struggling over a cat. Nansen had a big monastery, and there were two wings of the monastery. And this cat was moving from one wing to another. And both the wings claimed that the cat belonged to them, and the cat was a beautiful one. First thing to be understood is, a real sannyasi cannot claim any ownership. A sannyasi means who has left all possessions, or all possessiveness, which is more basic and deeper. You can leave possessions, that is easier, but to leave possessionship is difficult because it goes deeper in the mind. You can leave the world, but the mind goes on clinging to it. These monks, Nansen's disciples, they had left the world behind. Their homes, their wife, their children, but now they were fighting on the ownership of a cat. This is how mind works. You leave one thing and the mind claims another. But the basic thing remains the same. And it makes no difference if the object of ownership changes. It makes no difference. The difference, the revolution, the real change comes only when the subjectivity changes, when the owner changes. So this is the first thing to be understood. Monks claiming ownership of a cat looks foolish, but this is how monks have been doing all over the world. They leave the house, then they claim the ownership of the temple of the church. They leave everything, but they can't leave their mind. And the mind creates new worlds for them, continuously. So it is not a question of possessing a kingdom, even a cat will do. And wherever the possession comes in, fight, violence, aggression is bound to be there. Whenever you possess, you are in fight. Because that which you possess belongs to the whole. You cannot possess anything, you can use, that's all. How can you possess the sky and how can you possess the earth? But we possess. And that possession creates all types of conflicts, struggle, wars, violence and everything. Man has been fighting and fighting continuously. Historians say that within last 3,000 years, there have been almost continuously wars somewhere or other on the earth. In 3,000 years, we have fought at least 14,000 wars. Why so much fight? It is because of possession. If you possess, you have started a war with the whole. Buddha, Mahavir, or Jesus, they all say, if you possess, you cannot enter in the kingdom of God. Even a camel can pass through the eye of a needle, says Jesus, but not a rich man from the gate into the gate of heaven. It is impossible. Because when you possess, you are constantly in fight with God. When you claim ownership, from whom you are claiming the ownership? The whole belongs to the whole. The part cannot claim the whole. The part cannot even claim the part. Every claim is aggression. So those who possess, they cannot be in deep contact with the divine. Non-possessiveness. That doesn't mean that you should not live in a house. Live in a house, but be thankful to the whole, to the divine. Use it, but don't possess it. If you can use things without any possessiveness, you have become a sannyasi. These followers of nonsense, they have left the world, but their mind has followed them like shadows. Now they are claiming ownership of a cat. The whole thing is foolish. But mind is foolish. Mind always goes on searching for excuses to fight. If you have a mind, you have a potential fighter within you, who is always in search to fight with somebody. Why mind is always in search to fight? Because through fight, ego is gathered, becomes stronger. Through fight, you gain the ego. If you don't fight, ego disappears. Mahavir has insisted, Buddha has insisted for non-violence. The basic reason is not to fight. Once you stop fighting, the ego cannot exist. Ego exists in fight. It is a consequence of fight. The more you fight, the more ego exists. If you are alone left on the earth, nobody to fight with, will you have an ego? You will not have an ego. The other is needed to create it. The other is a must. Ego is a relationship. It is not in you. Remember, the ego is not in you. It is not located within you. It is always located within you and the other, somewhere in between, where fight is. There are two types of relationships. One is a fight, fear, hatred. This creates ego. Another is of love, compassion, sympathy. These are the two types of relationships. Wherever love is, fight ceases, ego drops. That's why you cannot love. It is difficult. Because to love means to drop the ego, to drop yourself. Love means not to be. So look at the strange phenomena. Lovers go on fighting. How lovers can fight? If there is love, fights will drop and the ego will disappear. Your whole being thirsts for love. Your whole mind thirsts for ego, so you make a compromise. You love and you fight. The lover becomes an intimate enemy. But the enmity remains. All lovers go on fighting and go on loving. They have made a compromise. In some moments they are loving, then they drop the ego, but the mind feels uneasy. Again, the mind starts fighting. So in the morning they are fighting, in the evening they are making love, next morning they are fighting. Then a rhythm is created of fight and love. True love means the fight has disappeared. The two have become one. Their bodies exist as separate, but their being has mingled. The boundaries are lost. There is no division. There is no I and thou. Now one exists. These monks of nonsense have left everything, but the mind is there. It wants to possess. It wants to create a fight. It wants to be egoistic. A cat becomes just an excuse. Nonsense called all the monks, all the disciples, caught hold of the cat, and he said, say something which can save this cat. What he meant when he said, say something which can save this cat, he meant say something Zen-like, say something meditative, say something of the other world, say something of the ecstasy, say something which doesn't belong to the mind. This cat can be saved if you say something which comes from no mind, which comes from your inner silence. He demanded the impossible. If there was inner silence, these monks would not have been claiming position. If there was inner silence, it was impossible for them to fight. The monks were at a loss. They knew if they say something, it is coming from the mind, and the cat will be killed. So they remained silent, but that silence was not real silence. Otherwise the cat would have been saved. They remained silent not because they were silent. They remained silent because they couldn't find anything to say which comes from no mind, which comes from an inner source, from your very being, from the center. They remained silent as a strategy. It was a tactics. It is better to remain silent because the master may be deceived that this silence is they are saying. This is what they are saying. But you cannot deceive a master. And if you can deceive a master, then that master is not a master at all. Their silence was false. Inside there was turmoil. Inside there was continuous chattering. They were thinking and thinking to find one answer so that this cat can be saved. They were in much trouble inside. The whole mind was functioning fast. The master must have looked at them. Their mind was not, they were not inactive. There was no meditation. There was no silence. Their silence was you can sit silently without being silent. And you can talk and be silent. You can walk and be inactive, and you can sit statue-like and be active. Mind is complex. You can run, walk, move, and inside, deep at the center, nothing happens. You are inactive. I am talking to you, and I am silent. You are not talking to me, and you are not silent. The mind continues. The inner chattering goes on and on and on. The mind is a monkey. It cannot sit silently. Darwin discovered that man comes from the monkeys. But in the East, meditators have always been aware that whether man comes from the monkeys or not, but the mind comes from the monkeys. It is monkeys, jumping, chattering, doing something or other, never silent. What Nansen said to his disciples, he said, if you don't behave like monkeys, this cat can be saved. But they couldn't help. You cannot help. If the mind is there, what can you do? If you try to keep it inactive, it becomes more active. If you force it to be silent, it talks more. If you suppress it, it rebels. You cannot suppress it. You cannot persuade it. You cannot do anything about it. Because the moment you do something, it is the mind who is doing. This is the problem. They all wanted to save the cat. They all wanted to possess the cat. The cat was really beautiful. But how a mind who is possessive can be silent? And how a mind who is possessive can save anybody? It can only kill. Remember, it is not Nansen who will kill the cat, it is these monks who killed. This is the secret key in this story. Nansen gives an opportunity. He says, you can save this cat. Say something which comes from no mind, from your very being. And if you don't say anything, I am going to cut this cat and divide it in two, so you both parties can possess it. It is not Nansen who will kill the cat. Apparently, he will kill the cat, but it is the monks who have killed. Whenever you possess a live thing, you have killed it already. Whenever you claim that I possess a live person, you have murdered, because life cannot be possessed. The cat was moving from this wing to that. The cat was alive, fully alive, more alive than these monks. She had no home. She didn't belong to anybody. She was just like a breeze, sometimes passing the left wing, sometimes passing the right. And the cat never claimed that these monks belonged to her or those monks belonged to her. She never possessed. Animals are non-possessive. Trees are non-possessive. Only man is possessive. And with possessiveness, man has missed all that is alive. You can possess only a dead thing. The moment you possess, you are making it dead. You love a woman, and then you try to possess her, you kill her. A wife is a thing, not a person. A husband is a thing, not a person. This is the misery, that you love a person and then you start possessing, and unknowingly you are poisoning. And sooner or later the day will come when you have poisoned the person completely. Now you possess. But how can you love a thing? The love had happened in the first place because the person was alive. Now the fellow has stopped. Now the light doesn't move. Now all the doors of freedom are closed. Now it has become a frozen thing. The river is frozen. Now there is no movement. Certainly, now this person cannot go to another. You possess him completely. But how can you love a dead person? This is the misery of love. You cannot love a dead person, and whenever you love, you start possessing. All possession creates death. Only things can be possessed. These monks have already killed the cat. Nansen is not going to kill it. He is going only to make manifest what has already happened. This story has been used against Zen monks, Zen masters, that these people are violent. Think of a Christian theologian reading this story. He will say, what type of religious man is this Nansen? He killed the cat, a poor cat. Better were those monks who were claiming. At least they were not clean. What type of master is this? What manner of man? If Jains, not Mahavir, if Jains read this story, they will throw Nansen into hell. He has killed a cat. Nansen is violent, apparently only. Those who cannot understand for them, those who can understand, he is simply manifesting a thing which has already happened. The cat is dead the moment it was possessed, the moment people started claiming. But he gives one more opportunity for them. They couldn't use that opportunity, they remained silent. But if the silence was real, the cat would have been alive. The silence was false. The silence was only on the surface, on the faces, skin deep. Inside, mad mind was functioning fast. It was whirling, spinning. Many answers must have come to those monks, but not the answer. So Nansen had to kill. He chopped the cat in two. Gave one part to the left wing claimers, another part to the right wing claimers. Those monks must have been happy. Happy in the sense that at least they possess half the cat. That is what is happening to you all. Whenever you fight, life goes dead and is divided. A father and a mother fighting on a son. Continuous fight on children. The father tries that the son belongs to him, he should follow him. The mother thinks the son belongs to her, he should follow her. Claiming. They are killing. Sooner or later, son will be divided half and half, chopped. Half of the son will belong to the father, half to the mother. And his whole life is destroyed, because now it will be very difficult for him to be whole. Half of his heart will always belong to the mother, and half always belong to the father. And the half will be against the mother and half will be against the father. Now he is divided. Now this division is going to follow him whole life. He is chopped in two. This is what Nansen is saying by chopping the cat in two. Don't fight over a person. Don't try to possess a person. because he will chop him. Visibly he may look one, deep down in the heart he has become two. And there will be constant conflict now. Mother and father were fighting over the son. Now mother may be dead, father may be dead, but they will go on fighting within the son. Sometimes the voice of the mother, sometimes the voice of the father, and the son will always be at a loss whom to follow. And he cannot be whole. You come to me in search of being whole, and I always said to be whole is to be holy. There is no other way to be holy, just to be whole. Divisions within you must fall. You must become a unity. But you are a conflict. Your father is fighting, your mother is fighting, your brothers are fighting, your teachers are fighting, your gurus are fighting, everybody fighting to possess you. There are many claimers, they have fragmented you, they have chopped you in many parts. You have become many, you are not one, you are a crowd. Neurosis comes out of it. Madness comes out of it. Insanity comes out of it. Have you ever observed how many souls you have got? How many selves you have got? You are not one, that is certain. In my universities days, I used to live with a boy. He will never get up in the morning at 5, but every day he will put the alarm. So I asked him, why you bother? Because you never get up. You always close the alarm and go to sleep again, so why bother and why get disturbed every morning? He laughed, but his laugh was hollow. He knew himself that he is not going to get up. But in the evening, another self, he said, no. Tomorrow morning I am going to get up. I said, okay, try. And by the time he was fixing the alarm, he was confident, absolutely confident that he will get up in the morning by 5. No suspicion. But this is only one fragment who says absolutely you have to get up. Enough, you have slept, no more time is left, the exam is coming near. At 5, I was waiting for him. He looked at me. When the alarm was there, he looked at me. I was aware. I was sitting on my bed. He smiled, put off the alarm, changed the side and went to sleep again. In the morning I asked him when 8 o'clock was his time to get up. When he got up I asked, he said, I thought just for a few minutes. And what is wrong in just to sleep for a few minutes more? I was feeling so sleepy. And the night was so cold. But tomorrow, you will see I will get up. These are two different fragments. And he is not aware. One who says, get up at 5 is a different part. Completely unaware of the part who will say, go to sleep, the night is very cold. You are doing the same. You decide a thing and next moment you have simply forgotten that what you decided. You say you are not going to be angry again. And next moment is very far away. If someone starts arguing with you, that no, you will become angry. You may become angry because he is arguing. Immediately, the anger can come to you. And you have decided not to be angry. a divided house you are. Many rooms in your house not connected with each other. The connections are broken, the bridges have dropped. You exist as a holy psychic being, many minds. So whatsoever you possess, you will chop it. You are already chopped. Those monks could not save the cat because they were divided. And Nansen was saying, do something, say something in a whole way, in a holy way, undivided. Act as in unity and this cat can be saved. Not a single one could act. The cat was chopped. A question arises. How could Nansen cut the cat? Is it just a parable? A symbolic story? Or really he chopped the cat? There are people who would like to say Nansen. I am not one of them. He really cut the cat. It is not a parable. It is not an anecdote, symbolic, metaphorical. No, literal. Exactly it has happened the way it is said. He cut the cat in two. Can a saintly man do that? I say to you, only a saintly man can do that. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna in Gita. Then don't bother, chop these fellows. These who are standing against you, you cut them, kill them. Remember only one thing, that which is hidden in them cannot be destroyed. Only the body can be destroyed, because body is already dead. Only the dead can be destroyed. The alive remains alive. It is eternal. Nothing can be done to it. Fire cannot burn it. Weapons cannot cut it. Nainam chidanti sastrani. No weapon can cut it. No fire can burn it. Only the form. But don't bother about the form, because form is unreal. It is part of illusion. This nonsense must have been in the same state of mind as Krishna, in the same state of consciousness as Krishna. He chopped the cat. He knows the soul of the cat cannot be destroyed. He knows that only the form can be changed. And one thing more which is very difficult to understand, because moralists have created so much confusion and smoke around it. When a cat is chopped by a nonsense, it is beneficial for the cat. It is a blessing for the cat. This cat must have been rare. And now this cat will not be born as a cat, she will be born as a man. To be chopped by nonsense is a rare opportunity. And the cat must have been wandering around the monastery for this moment. Nonsense has changed the form. The cat will be born as a higher being, just because nonsense has chopped her. In that moment, the cat was more silent than the monks. and the cat was more ecstatic than the monks. And being chopped by Nansen is not an aggression. It is a love act. Nansen freed the cat from the form of cat. He will be born as a higher being. But this is difficult to follow. And I am not saying to you to go and free people from their forms so that they may be born as higher beings. Don't chop anybody. You would like. You will enjoy it. For Nansen, it was an act of deep prayer. He must have watching this cat. This cat is no ordinary cat. There are animals who are crying to be freed from their form. It happened in a camp in Mathiran. I was staying very far away from the camp. The first evening, when I was going to my bungalow, a dog followed. Really a rare dog. And then, continuously the dog remained. For 3 times I was coming to conduct the camp, and 3 times going back. It was half an hour's way. 3 times the dog will follow me to the camp, and 3 times he will follow me back to the bungalow. And while I was asleep, he was sitting just on the veranda. For the whole camp, this was his room. When he was going to eat something, never he left me. He will follow to the camp. When others were meditating, he will sit more silently than those who were attending the camp. More deeply. And then he will go back with me. The last day, when I left from Mathiran by train, he followed the train. He was running by the side of the train. Many people may be here who were a witness there. Running by the side of the train. The guard took compassion. He took him in. Up to Neral he followed. This train was a slow train, a toy train coming from Mathiran to Neral, just 7 miles. Traveling for 2 hours, the dog could follow. But from Neral it is a fast train. When I took the train from Neral to Bombay, others were standing there on the platform, weeping and crying, and the dog was also with tears standing there. I know that cat must have been extraordinary. Otherwise Nansen would not take such a trouble to chop it. He created an opportunity for his disciples, and he used that opportunity for the cat also. He hit 2 targets by 1 stone. This is possible. If you are ready, then your form can be destroyed and you will get a higher form. Because your higher form depends on the moment when you die. The cat died in the hands of Nansen. A very rare opportunity. Such a silent man as Nansen. The cat must have caught the silence. Such an ecstatic being The cat must have been filled with his ecstasy, and then he chopped it. The cat was not afraid. She must have enjoyed the game. It was a surgical act. The cat must be born in the next life as a very higher soul, but that is an inner story and cannot be understood by ordinary morality. And persons like Nansen don't follow ordinary morality. They follow the inner rules, the inner laws. Ordinary morality is for ordinary men. And then, by the evening came another disciple who was out of the monastery. Nansen told the story to him, that this has happened and I had to cut the cat. I had to divide it in two because there was no way. These foolish fellows couldn't save the cat. They couldn't utter a single word. They couldn't act in Zen-like way. They couldn't prove they are Zen. Only Zen could have saved the cat, nothing else. The disciple listened to the story, put his shoes on his head and walked out. Nansen called him and said, if you had been there, the cat would have been saved. This was the right man. What he did, what type of behavior. He took his shoes off, put them on his head and walked out. Many things he said without saying. The first thing, he listened to the story and didn't comment on it. The monkey was silent. The mind was not chattering. He didn't try to think and answer. He simply acted. That action was not from the mind. The action was from his total being. And what he did, put his shoes on his head. Absurd. But he said that the mind, the head, is not more valuable than the shoes. Shoes, the meanest thing. He had put them on his head. He said by this act that the mind is nothing but shoes. The mind is valueless. Thinking cannot help. The mind has to be thrown to the shoes. Even shoes are more worthy and respectful than the mind. That's what he said. And then he simply walked out. And said, Nansen, had you been here this morning, you could have saved the cat. The cat would have been saved. Here was the man who doesn't believe in the mind, who doesn't believe in the answers. Here is a man who can act spontaneously. Life can be saved only if you can act spontaneously. Not only the cat's life, your life also. Throw the mind to the shoes. It is not more worthy in any way. And shoes have not troubled you so much. Sometimes they may pinch, but only sometimes. And if they are of right size, they are always okay. But the mind has been pinching you for many lives. And it is never of the right size. It is always the wrong size. Mind is never of the right size. Shoes can be of right size. Mind is always of the wrong size. It goes on pinching. Mind is the wrong size. You cannot make a good mind. There is no possibility. You cannot make a beautiful ugliness. You cannot make a healthy disease. That is impossible. The mind is always wrong. It goes on pinching. And whether you think or whether you pray, if the mind is there, everything goes wrong. Mind is the factor which creates wrongness in life. This is the source of error, perversion, neurosis. The life can be saved only when you drop the mind. What this disciple did, it was difficult to drop the head. It was easier to put the shoes on the head. But it is symbolic. He is saying, I have dropped the head. Don't ask foolish questions to me. And he acted. That's the thing. Meditation is not contemplation. It is action. Action of the whole, of the total being. In the West particularly, Christianity has created a false impression. Meditation looks like contemplation. It is not. Through Christianity, West has missed many things. One of them is meditation. The rarest flowering of human being. Because they have made it equivalent with contemplation. Contemplation is thinking. Meditation is no thinking. For dhyana, Zen, there exists no equivalent in English language. Because meditation itself means thinking. To meditate upon. Some object is there. For dhyan. And remember, dhyan is the original word. Dhyan traveled to China with Bodhidharma. And in Chinese language it became Chan. And then from China it traveled to Japan, and in Japanese it became first Zhan and then Zen. But the original root is Dhyan. Chan, Jhan, Zen. But in English there is no word equivalent to it. Meditation also means thinking. A consistent thinking. Contemplation also means thinking. It may be thinking about God, but it is thinking. And dhyan or zen is a no thinking state. It is action without thought. Thought needs time. In the morning, the monks were sitting, thinking what to do. They thought and couldn't find. Thought will never find the right answer. The cat had to be chopped. Life became dead because thought is poisonous. Thinking leads to death, not to more life. The cat had to be chopped. Nansen couldn't help. Those monks killed the cat. This man, this disciple who came by the evening, listened to this story without commenting, without saying anything. He simply took his shoes, put them on his head and walked out. He acted. He said something through his action, not through his mind. He didn't use words. He used himself, and he didn't wait. He didn't contemplate. He didn't try to find the answer how the cat should have been saved if you were there by the evening and the story was told to you, you must have started to think how. When the how comes, mind has come. This disciple acted without the how. He simply acted. The act was spontaneous, very symbolic. Putting the shoes on the head, he said something. He said, head is valueless. This nonsense the master used to ask people. But what is the most valueless thing in the world? He used to give it as a meditation to his disciples. Think, what is the most valueless thing in the world? His master also has given this code to him. He meditated, and one day he came and told his master, the head. The master asked, why? So Nansen said, cut a head and go to the market and try to sell it. Nobody will purchase it. This is what nonsense disciple did. Putting shoes on the head, he says, worthless head. And you go on insisting, asking questions to the head. There is no answer. How the shoes can answer? Walked out. And nonsense said, you could have said, where you were this morning. The cat would have been alive and kicking. Some absurd act was needed. Absurd is spontaneous. Rational, no. Something irrational was needed. Because reason is deeper than reason. That's why if you are too much head fixed, you cannot fall in love. Because love is irrational, absurd. The head goes on saying, this is useless, what you will gain out of it, there is no profit, or you may get into trouble. Think about it. It is said of Immanuel Kant, one of the greatest systematizers, that one girl proposed to him. In the first place, it is bad that a girl should propose. It is always the boy who proposes. But the girl must have waited and Kant won't propose. The idea never occurred to him. He was so much in his philosophy, how can he in love? He was so much rooted in his head, the heart was denied all. So the girl, feeling that too much time is lost, proposed. Kant said, I will think over it. How can you think about love? Either it is there or not. It is not a question to be solved. It is a situation to respond. Either your heart says yes or your heart says no. It is finished. What you will think? It is not a business proposal. But it was a business proposal to Kant. Too much head orientation makes everything business-like. So he thought, not only thought, he went to the library and consulted books about love, marriage. Then he noted down in his notebook all that is in favor of marriage and all that is against. And he thought, and it is said that thinking to the pros and cons, he decided in favor of marriage. Because few points were more in favor than against. So it was a logical decision. Then he went and knocked at the door of the girl The father said, she is already married and a mother of 3 children. So much time passed. You came a little late. Time is needed for the mind. Mind is always late because time will be needed and the situation will be lost. And when you knock at the door, the girl has moved. She is a mother of 3 children already. And this is happening every moment. Remember, a situation is there. Act. Don't think. Because if you think, the situation will not wait for you. The girl would have moved. And when you are ready to respond, there is nothing to respond. Kant was ready. But mind takes time. And situations are moving. Life is a flow, a flux. It is not static, otherwise mind would have found the answer. If the girl had remained, but the girl was getting old. She was missing life. She cannot wait. She had to move, take decision. Life is not static. If life was static, then there was no need for meditation. Then mind would do. Then you can think. And whenever, after many lives, you knock at the door, the girl is waiting for you. But life is a flux, a movement. Every moment it is changing and becoming new. If you miss a moment, you have missed. This disciple didn't miss a single moment. He heard the story, took out his shoes, put them on his head and walked out. If he had waited a single moment to think, Nansen was going to beat him. I tell you, he was going to be beaten because the cat was no more there. He may have chopped this disciple. But he acted. Action without mind is the most beautiful thing possible. But you are afraid because you think if you act without mind, you may do something wrong. Because of this fear, mind exploits this fear, that think first then act. But you go on missing the train. Leave this fear, otherwise you will never be meditative. Act. In the beginning, there will be a deep shaking and trembling, because you have been always acting out of thinking. It is just like one man has been living in a prison, a dark cell for many years. His eyes have become attuned to darkness. If he is brought out of the cell immediately, he will not be able to open his eyes. The sun will be too much. The light will be too much. His whole being will tremble and he will say, let me go back to myself. This is what has happened to you, to everybody. We have lived in the mind for many, many lives. We have become attuned to its darkness, ugliness, futility. When you act without the mind, your whole being trembles. You are moving on a dangerous path. The mind says, be alert, think first, then do anything. If you think first and then do anything, your doing will always be dead, still. It will be out of thought. It will not be real and authentic. Then you cannot love. Then you cannot meditate. Then really you cannot live and you cannot die. You become a phantom, a phony existence. Love knocks at your heart and you say, wait, I will think about it. Life goes on knocking at your gates and you say, wait, I will think about it. This disciple must have been deep in meditation. He acted. He simply acted. He could have saved the cat means he has already saved it. He has already saved all that is alive. Don't think about this story. Otherwise I will have to chop the cat. You can save it. Otherwise the cat would have to be chopped again, and you will be responsible. Act. But the story won't help you. Don't try to put your shoes on your head. That won't help. That helped that disciple. This won't help you. The cat would have to be chopped if you put the shoes on your head and walk out, because that will be false again. That will be out of mind. You know the story. Mind cannot give you the real. Whatsoever you do, don't imitate. I have heard in a Chinese town there was one big restaurant, a very rich, the most beautiful, rich restaurant in the town. And just near that restaurant lived a poor Chinese. He couldn't go in the restaurant, it was too costly. But the smell of the food, the aroma, he used to sniff it. And when he will take his lunch or dinner, he will take a chair out of his house and will go as near to the restaurant as he could dare and sit there, sniff the aroma, the smell that was coming from the restaurant, and eat his food. He enjoyed it. He ran a small laundry. But one day he was surprised. There came a man, the owner of the restaurant, with a bill for the smell of food. That poor man ran into his house, brought his tiny money box and rattled it into the ears of the owner and said, "Hereby I pay your smell of food by the sound of my money." Mind is just a smell and sound, nothing real. Whatsoever you do, mind is a smell and sound, nothing authentic. It is the source of all falsity. So you have heard the story. Now don't try to imitate it. You can do it easily now. Now the secret is known. You can put the shoes on your head and walk. But the cat will be chopped. It will not save. It will not help. Act spontaneously. Put aside the mind and do something. Doing it, you will come to know the cat has never been chopped, because cat cannot die. Putting aside the mind, you will come to know your own eternity. And the very moment you know the eternity of the cat also. Mind is mortal, not you. You are immortal. Mind has a death waiting for it, not you. You are deathless. Putting aside the mind, you will laugh and you will say, "This nonsense played a trick. The cat cannot be killed." That's what Krishna goes on saying to Arjuna. You don't be worried. You chop these fellows because nobody can be killed. Gita is very dangerous. Nowhere on the earth exists such a dangerous book. So nobody has followed it. People recite it. Nobody follows it. It is dangerous. And even people who love it very much and respect it very much never listen to it, what it says. Even a man like Mahatma Gandhi, who called Gita his mother, won't listen to it. How can Mahatma Gandhi listen to it? He believes in non-violence. And as Krishna says, chop these fellows. Nothing exists, it is like a dream. And I tell you, nobody is killed. So you don't bother about it. How can Gandhi can believe? So he had to play a trick. This is how mind plays trick. He said, this is a parable. This is metaphorical. Don't take it literally. The fight is not real. Kauravas and Pandavas, these two group of warriors, are just a story. Kauravas represent the evil and Pandavas represent the good. The fight between good and evil, between God and the devil. It is not a real fight. But this is Gandhi's mind playing tricks. There have been Buddhist interpreters of nonsense also. They say this is just a parable. There was no real catch. This never happened. But I tell you, this happened. The cat was real as nonsense. The cat was chopped. Nonsense can do it. Nonsense is a Krishna. He knows nothing is destroyed. This word, English word destruction, is very beautiful, meaningful. The word destruction means destructuring. Nothing is destroyed, only the structure changes. A new structure arises. The old structure goes out of existence, a new structure arises. Destruction means destructuring. Only the form changes. The cat may be here sitting. It is more possible than anywhere else. When you go back home, look in the mirror. You may be the cat. And you have come again here. Do something, otherwise I will chop you again. And remember, now nobody can save you. That time monks could have saved. This time you are a monk. So nobody can save you except you. Action out of immediacy. Action is spontaneous, saves life. That is the only savior. There exists no other savior. Anything more, Sita?
In place of the 10 Commandments with which I was brought up, I have given myself a new set of rules. Be alert, be patient, be spontaneous, accept myself.
All questions are mind questions. No question comes out of non-mind. And all answers are no-mind answers. So questions and answers never meet. You ask a question and I give you an answer. They never meet. They cannot meet. Because your question runs on the track of the mind and my answer runs on the track of no mind. They may run parallel, but they never meet. Either I should drop my no mind, then there can be a meeting. Or you should drop the mind, then there can be a meeting. And remember, I am not going to drop my no mind. It cannot be dropped. Because how can you drop a no thing? You can drop a thing, but you cannot drop a no thing. So you have to drop the mind, then the answer will be heard. understood, then it will penetrate you. And mind is a deep source of new questions, new puzzles, new riddles. You can change the 10 commandments, you can put another 10. That will not do. Because if they are put by the mind, nothing changes. Now 10 commandments have become very old, out of date. They speak in the language of past. At that time that language was relevant. Now they don't look relevant. You can change. You can make new commandments. But those new commandments, if they are put by the mind together, will not be of any use. Your mind can think and put them together. They may look beautiful, but they will be false. You can make let go a commandment. Total acceptability a commandment. But if they are put by the mind, they are meaningless. Why? Because mind cannot allow itself in a let go. It can pretend. It cannot really allow to let go. Mind cannot accept because mind exists through rejection. That's why mind always likes to say no rather than yes. Whenever you say no, you feel the ego. Whenever you say yes, you don't feel the ego. That's why people go on saying no more than yes. They say yes only when it becomes absolutely necessary. Otherwise, they say no. Whenever something is asked, the first thing that arises in your mind is no. Because when you reject, you are. When you accept, you are not there. Yes saying will create a no mind. So a theist is a yes sayer. A theist is a no sayer. He says no. And when you say there is no God, then you feel a tremendous energy in the ego. Then you are. Nietzsche has said that if God is, then I won't like to be. And if I am, then I won't allow God to be. Because both cannot exist. And he is right. How both can exist, you and God together? If you are there, then you are the God. God cannot exist. If he exists, then how can you exist? The ultimate no comes to the mind, no God. Mind rejects, cannot accept. So you can change, you can think about, you can change the 10 old commandments and create new 10. But if they come out of the mind, they are useless. And if they are not coming out of the mind, what is the need? If the no mind has happened and you feel it, what is the need of commandments? Commandments are for the mind. They are from the mind and for the mind. Rules exist for the mind. Because mind cannot exist without rules. This is one of the most basic things. Rules exist for the false, not for the real. The real can exist without the rules, but the false cannot exist. It has to be popped, helped, supported by the rules. You play a game. You play cards. Can you play cards without rules? There can be no possibility. If you say that I will follow my rules and you follow your rules and we play the game, there will be no game. We have to follow the rules. And we both know that rules are just rules, nothing real in it. We have agreed for the rules, that's why they exist. Game cannot continue if rules are not followed, but life will continue without rules. What rules these trees are following? What rules the sun follows? What rules the sky follows? Human mind is such that human mind thinks they are also following rules. Accordingly, the sun moves, it follows a rule. There is a ruler, the God, who controls everything. He is like a great super manager. He goes on spying everybody who is following, who is not following. This is mind creation. Life exists without rules. Games cannot exist without rules. So real religion is always without rules. Only false religion has rules. Because false religion is a game. I have heard when a young woman came to a barber shop with her young boy. The boy was dressed like a soldier and looked very dangerous, and he had a 6-suiter tie. Immediately he jumped on the chair and said, "Bang, bang," just made the noise. And the lady said to the barber that I am going to leave my son here for half an hour. I have some shopping to do. The barber became uneasy and he said, if this young man becomes too restless, that what I am supposed to do? And that young boy is standing with his 6-suiter on the chair, looking very dangerous, soldier-like. The young lady said, if he gets too much restless, you will have simply to drop dead few times. That's all. If he says bang, you drop dead. Follow the rule, that's the rule. Then he will not be restless. So you have to drop dead for few times. Then he will be happy and there will be no trouble. All the commandments are bang, drop dead. For real life there is no commandment. You follow in it without any rules. You be in it without any rules. You simply be. Why follow rules? Out of your being, everything will happen. These things you say will happen if you are simply there, without any rules. Then acceptance will come, let go will come, then mind will drop. So these rules cannot be made rules, they are consequences of being spontaneous and total. If somebody follows them and he has made a commandment that I have to accept everything and then accepts, it is false. Because in accepting he has already rejected. If you have to accept something because of the commandment, you have already rejected. If your mind said accept, why? Because before it has said reject. The rejection has come before the acceptance. But if there is no rejection, how you will be aware of acceptance? You will simply accept and flow. Become river-like. Become a white cloud floating in the sky. And let the winds take you wheresoever they take. Don't follow any rules. This is what I mean when I say be a sannyasi. Just be. Your ochre robes, your mala, these are rules. This is the game. This is not what I mean by real sannyas. But you are so accustomed of games that before I lead you to a rule-less life, in the transitory periods you will need rules. Moving from this world of rules, of games, to that world of without rules and games, a bridge has to be passed. Your orange clothes, your mala is just for the transitory period. You cannot drop rules immediately. So I give you new rules. But be fully alert that your robes is not your sannyas. Your mala is not your sannyas. Your new name is not your sannyas. Sannyas will be there when there will be no name. You will become nameless when there will be no rule. When you will be so ordinary, you will not be recognized. Only then. But don't think that now it is okay, so no need to take sannyas and no need to take orange robe. That is again a trick. You have to pass through this. You have to go through this. You cannot bypass it. And if you try to bypass, you will never reach to the other source. Rules of the world, then rules of sannyas, and then comes a no rule state. No commandments are needed. Don't change the old commandments. They are okay as they are. You be. Simply be. And follow and flow into the be. Enough for today?